Hello, my name is Karen, and I am an occupational therapy student at Kaiser University's MSOT Bridge program. This week, as part of my Level 1 fieldwork experience, I will be covering the various safety policy and procedures listed in employee handbooks at various residential facilities. In particular, we will be looking at the Martha Jefferson House, which is an assisted living facility and an independent living facility in Virginia, and the Pride Therapy and Living Campus, which is an assisted living facility with an attached high performance recovery SNF, or skilled nursing facility. This facility is located in Wisconsin. The Martha Jefferson Employee Handbook was a little more vague than the Pride TLC handbook regarding safety policies. It noted that the policies and procedures would be covered more in depth during the actual employee orientation. The few things that were highlighted, however, were the importance of employees maintaining proper hand hygiene and staying up to date on vaccines. This includes your flu shot, and this was to help with infection control. They also listed that it's important for employees to know not only what hazardous materials they are working with, but also how to properly dispose of these hazardous materials. And the main thing that was highlighted and bolded and stressed was that any incident, any injury that occurs while you're at work, or any equipment that breaks or becomes defective must be reported within 24 hours. This was listed as key. So if an employee is injured on the job, making sure to report that right away to their supervisor. One other thing that the Martha Jefferson handbook listed that I found interesting was their earring policy. This is something that most medical students or healthcare professionals know. They learn it in school, but this handbook made sure to point it out, and that was that if you wear earrings, they are to be studs or dangles that are less than 1/4 of an inch, and this is to help prevent any damage occurring to the employee when working with a resident either on transfers or bed mobility. Any dangling earrings are a risk for the client to grab onto and then rip the employee's ear. The Pride TLC, Therapy and Living Campus handbook, had a much more detailed safety section. The first thing that they opened with was covering their employee response to a fire. This facility uses the RACE method. This is RACE. So the R stands for rescue or remove. So it is the employee's responsibility to rescue any residents that are at risk of the fire or in immediate danger. The A is to activate the alarm system, so pulling the fire alarm, calling for help, whatever it might be. C is for confine or contain, so trying to shut any fire hazard doors that are near the area or contain the fire if possible, like throwing a blanket over it. And the E stands for extinguish or escape. So the employee should either try to extinguish it if it is safe to do so, and if unsafe, the employee needs to evacuate the immediate area. The Pride TLC also listed that while performing your job, it is the employee's responsibility not only to look out for the personal responsibility, but the safety of the other employees on campus as well as the residents. They then went on to list a full list of safety rules. 6 of the ones that stood out to me, because there were quite a few, were 1, knowing all alarm locations, so knowing where those fire alarms are, where the fire extinguishers are, and also knowing where the emergency exits are. Additionally, cleaning any spills on the floor, as this is a major slipping hazard, especially for the residents with the limited mobility and maybe impaired balance. When working with any residents, wearing oxygen. One of the rules is making sure that there is an oxygen in use sign posted on their door outside their room. Again, the Pride TLC campus is an ALF, also a SNF, so those resident rooms need to have that sign posted on the door. Also, employees are not to climb on any equipment or stand on anything that is not a designated step stool. So when reaching for something on a high shelf, the only thing that the employee is allowed to step on is something that is labeled a step stool. Keeping the floors clutter-free. It was emphasized that this is especially important in the resident rooms. Again, trying to prevent any falls happening with our clients is of the utmost importance. So making sure that floors remain clutter-free. And finally, much like the Martha Jefferson House listed, it is important to report any unsafe conditions, any unsafe equipment or any injuries within 24 hours of the incident occurring. As an occupational therapist or an occupational therapy student, it is very important to be aware of these safety policies and procedures in place, especially specific ones pertaining to that location. This is important not only for your own safety, but mainly for your client's safety. As an occupational therapist, your client's safety and well-being and health is in your hands while you're working with them. It's part of the job. It comes with the territory. So we really need to make sure that we're looking out for our clients' well-being, and a large part of that is making sure that we can safely help them in the event an emergency occurs. So making sure we know exactly what the policies are for keeping our areas clean, making sure we know how to properly respond to an emergency situation, and making sure we know where those exits are so that if need comes to rise, we can get our residents out safely. Thank you very much for joining me this week.